There exists a profound teaching that sits at the very heart of Buddhist wisdom, yet remains hidden in plain sight. It speaks not of striving or achieving, but of remembering who you already are beneath the accumulated layers of doubt and self-rejection. This ancient understanding reveals that the quality of your inner world creates the reality of your outer experience. When you truly love yourself, not from a place of arrogance or narcissism, but from a deep recognition of your inherent Buddha nature, the universe no longer resists you. Instead, it begins to reflect back the wholeness you have claimed within. The Buddha taught something radical over 2,500 years ago. He said that you could search throughout the entire tenfold universe and not find a single being more worthy of love and compassion than yourself. Not your neighbor, not your teacher, not the wisest sage or the most accomplished meditator, you. Exactly as you are in this moment. This is not self-indulgence. This is spiritual truth. Your capacity to love others, to serve the world, to attract goodness into your life, all begins with how you hold yourself in the sanctuary of your own heart. The external world is never the problem. It is always a mirror reflecting the relationship you have cultivated with your own being. Through meditation and deep contemplation, the ancient wisdom keepers discovered something that changes everything. What you believe about yourself at the deepest level shapes not just your thoughts and feelings, but the very circumstances that appear in your life. This is not magical thinking. This is the natural law of consciousness itself. When your inner landscape is dominated by self-criticism, unworthiness, and the relentless pursuit of external validation, you broadcast that frequency into the world. And the world, being nothing more than the mirror of mind, responds in kind. But when you begin to recognize your own Buddha nature, when you treat yourself with the same gentleness and acceptance that you would offer a beloved child, everything shifts. The chasing stops. The striving softens. And paradoxically, what you have been seeking begins to find you. Chasing is the shadow of self-doubt. Through meditation, we discover that chasing anything from a place of lack creates the very distance we are trying to close. When you run after love, success, recognition, or validation, you are unconsciously declaring to the universe that you are incomplete without these things. This declaration becomes your reality. The Buddha understood that desire rooted in the belief of insufficiency perpetuates suffering. This is the second noble truth made manifest in daily life. You push away the very things you want most because your energy carries the signature of desperation rather than wholeness. Inner stillness holds far more power than frantic effort ever could. When a lake is turbulent, you cannot see your reflection clearly. When your mind is consumed with anxiety about what you lack, you cannot perceive the abundance already present. Ancient wisdom teaches us that the still mind is the fertile ground from which all manifestation arises, not because stillness is passive, but because it represents a fundamental shift from seeking to being. When you rest in the awareness of your own sufficiency, when you stop trying to prove your worth to an imaginary judge, your energy transforms. You no longer repel goodness through the frequency of lack. Instead, you become magnetic to the very things you once chased. This is why meditation is not merely a relaxation technique, but a revolutionary act of self-remembering. When you sit in silence and observe the endless parade of thoughts telling you that you are not enough, you begin to see these thoughts for what they are: conditioned patterns, not ultimate truth. The nature of mind is luminous, clear, and inherently worthy. Your Buddha nature does not need to be earned or constructed. It simply needs to be uncovered, like the sun emerging from behind passing clouds. When you love yourself from this place of recognition, you stop proving and start attracting. You stop chasing and start allowing. The universe no longer experiences you as grasping but as grounded, and in that groundedness, doors open that were previously invisible. Wholeness attracts, wounds repel. The universe reflects what you believe you deserve at the deepest layers of your consciousness. This is not a punishment or a cosmic judgment. It is simply how energy works. Your subconscious mind, shaped by years of conditioning, holds beliefs about your worthiness, your safety, and your place in the world. These beliefs create an energetic signature that precedes you into every interaction, every opportunity, every relationship. If you believe you are unworthy of love, you will unconsciously sabotage loving relationships. If you believe success belongs to others but not to you, you will find ways to remain small. This is not because the universe is cruel, but because you are creating from a template of unworthiness. Until you heal the inner wounds that whisper, "You are not enough," you will repeat the same patterns in different forms. The Buddha spoke of karma as the law of cause and effect. But karma operates not just across lifetimes, but across moments. Every action arises from intention, and every intention arises from belief. When your core beliefs are rooted in shame, fear, and self-rejection, your actions will perpetuate circumstances that confirm these beliefs. This is the wheel of suffering turning relentlessly until you choose to step off through awareness and compassion. Your energy, not your words or even your actions, determines what you attract. You can affirm abundance while your nervous system is locked in survival mode. You can visualize success while your heart is heavy with unworthiness. The universe does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you are. This is why the Buddhist path emphasizes transformation of consciousness rather than mere positive thinking. When you sit with your wounds, when you meet your shame with compassion rather than avoidance, when you allow yourself to feel the pain you have been running from, something sacred happens. The wound begins to heal, and as it heals, the energetic signature you emit into the world transforms. You stop repelling goodness and begin attracting it, not because you have manipulated the universe, but because you have aligned with truth. The practice of loving kindness, meditation, or metta begins with directing compassion toward yourself. This is not narcissism. This is recognizing that you cannot give what you do not have. If your heart is closed to yourself, it will be closed to others, no matter how much you pretend otherwise. When you genuinely wish yourself freedom from suffering, when you genuinely wish yourself happiness, you activate the healing that allows wholeness to emerge, and wholeness is magnetic. It does not chase, it does not beg, it simply is, and in that beingness, life responds with grace. Stillness creates magnetic power. In a world addicted to noise, distraction, and constant doing, inner peace holds real power. This is not the power of dominance or control, but the power of presence. When your energy is calm and grounded, when you are not buffeted by every passing thought or external circumstance, you become like a mountain, unchanging, stable, rooted. And people, opportunities, and experiences are drawn to that stability like rivers flowing toward the ocean. The nature of reality is that it seeks balance. Chaos is drawn to order. Noise is drawn to silence. Fear is drawn to peace. When you cultivate stillness within, you become a refuge not just for yourself, but for everything around you. Most people live their entire lives in a state of internal turbulence. The mind chatters endlessly. Emotions rise and fall like waves. Plans are made and discarded. Identities are constructed and defended. All of this activity creates static in the energetic field. It is like trying to hear a whisper in the middle of a thunderstorm. The guidance is there, the wisdom is present, the opportunities are available, but they cannot be perceived through the noise. When you commit to meditation, to sitting in silence and allowing the mind to settle, you are not escaping life. You are finally arriving at it. You are creating the inner conditions that allow clarity to arise. Life responds without resistance when you stop forcing. This is the principle of Wu Wei, effortless action, which is central to both Taoist and Buddhist thought. When you are aligned with your true nature, when you are acting from stillness rather than agitation, your actions carry a different quality. They are precise, they are timely, they are effective. You do not need to shout to be heard because your presence speaks louder than words ever could. You do not need to manipulate or control because you trust the unfolding. This trust is born from stillness. It cannot be manufactured through effort. It arises naturally when the mind is no longer dominated by fear and grasping. Think of a master calligrapher. Before the brush touches paper, there is stillness. In that stillness, the entire stroke is already complete. The movement that follows is not forced, but flows from a place of inner clarity. This is how life moves when you stop interfering with it. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from craving and aversion, from the constant attempt to pull things toward you or push them away. When you rest in stillness, craving and aversion lose their grip. You are no longer at war with reality. You are in harmony with it. And in that harmony, magnetic power arises not as something you do, but as something you are. Detachment is the highest form of faith. Wanting something is natural. The heart has desires, the mind has preferences, the body has needs. The Buddha never taught that you should extinguish all wanting. What he taught was the distinction between desire and craving, between preference and addiction, between wanting and needing. Needing creates suffering because it places your peace in the hands of external circumstances. When you need something in order to be whole, you have made that thing your master. And masters always disappoint, because impermanence is the law of all conditioned phenomena. Everything changes, everything passes. To build your sense of self on anything outside yourself is to build on sand. Trust that what is meant for you will come without force. This is not passivity. This is the deepest form of faith. It is the recognition that there is an intelligence woven into the fabric of existence that is far wiser than your small, fearful mind could ever be. The Buddhists call it Dharma, the natural law. The Taoists call it the Tao, the way. Different names for the same understanding. When you align with truth, life supports you. When you resist truth, life resists you. Detachment means releasing the stranglehold of control and allowing life to reveal its wisdom in its own timing. Releasing control creates space for blessings to appear. Think of your life as a room. When the room is cluttered with demands, expectations, timelines, and strategies, there is no space for the unexpected gift to arrive. When you practice detachment, you are clearing the room. You are saying to the universe, I have planted the seeds through my intention and my action. Now, I trust you to bring the harvest in the season that serves the highest good. This does not mean you stop working or caring. It means you stop obsessing. You stop tightening your grip until your knuckles turn white. You do what is yours to do with full presence and commitment, and then you release the outcome. The Bhagavad Gita speaks of karma yoga, the yoga of action, which teaches that you have the right to your labor, but not to the fruits of your labor. This is detachment in action. You give your best effort not because you are guaranteed a specific result, but because the effort itself is an expression of your integrity. When you can live this way, when you can act with full commitment, yet remain unattached to outcomes, you discover a freedom that is not dependent on anything external. And in that freedom, paradoxically, you become far more effective. Your actions are no longer contaminated by anxiety. Your decisions are no longer distorted by desperation. You move through life with grace, and grace attracts grace. Self-compassion turns chaos into clarity. Healing begins with acceptance, not with fixing yourself. This is one of the most radical and misunderstood teachings in all of Buddhism. We have been conditioned to believe that we are broken and need to be repaired, that there is a better version of ourselves waiting somewhere in the future if only we work hard enough, achieve enough, transform enough. But the Buddha taught something entirely different. He taught that your true nature is already whole. The work is not to become something you are not. The work is to remove the obscurations that prevent you from seeing what you already are. When you respond to pain with kindness, clarity naturally follows. Most people respond to their own suffering with judgment and violence. When sadness arises, they tell themselves they should not feel this way. When fear appears, they criticize themselves for being weak. When anger emerges, they suppress it or lash out, ashamed that such a feeling could exist within them. But this internal war only deepens the suffering. The Buddha taught that all phenomena are impermanent, including painful emotions. They arise, they abide for a time, and they pass. But they only pass smoothly when you allow them to move through you without resistance. Self-compassion means meeting every part of yourself, even the parts you have judged as unacceptable, with the same gentleness you would offer to a frightened child. It means saying to the fear, "I see you. I understand why you are here. You are trying to protect me. Thank you. You can rest now." It means saying to the shame, "You are not who I am. You are a visitor, and visitors do not stay forever." This practice of radical acceptance does not mean you condone harmful behavior in yourself or others. It means you recognize that shaming yourself has never led to genuine transformation. Only love transforms. Only compassion heals. Stop bullying your inner child. Many of us carry within us a wounded child who never received the love, safety, and acceptance they needed. And instead of finally offering that love to ourselves, we continue the pattern of criticism and rejection that we learned from the world. We become our own harsh parent, our own merciless judge. The Buddha's teaching of loving kindness must begin with yourself. You cannot bypass this step. You cannot love others genuinely while treating yourself with contempt. The practice is simple but profound. Place your hand on your heart, feel the rise and fall of your breath, and speak to yourself with the tenderness you would offer to someone you cherish. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be at peace. May I know my true nature. These simple phrases, repeated with sincerity, begin to dissolve years of accumulated self-hatred. When chaos reigns in your mind, when confusion clouds your vision, the antidote is not more thinking or more effort. The antidote is self-compassion. When you stop fighting yourself, when you stop demanding that you be different than you are in this moment, something extraordinary happens. The chaos begins to settle, not because you have controlled it, but because you have stopped adding fuel to the fire. Clarity arises from stillness, and stillness arises from acceptance. This is the pathless path that the Buddha walked, and it is available to you in every moment. The universe reflects your inner dialogue. How you treat yourself shapes how others treat you. This is not metaphysical speculation. This is observable reality. When you speak to yourself with cruelty, when your inner dialogue is dominated by criticism and contempt, you carry that energy into every interaction. People sense it, even if they do not consciously recognize it. You might wonder why you keep attracting relationships where you are not valued, why you keep encountering people who dismiss or disrespect you. The answer is not that you are unlucky or cursed. The answer is that you have been dismissing and disrespecting yourself, and the world is simply mirroring that pattern back to you. Self-love sets the energetic standard for everything in your life. It establishes a baseline frequency that informs what you will accept and what you will not. When you genuinely love yourself, you do not tolerate mistreatment because it feels fundamentally wrong, like wearing shoes that do not fit. You do not chase people who show you through their actions that they do not see your worth. You do not diminish yourself to make others comfortable. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. You recognize your Buddha nature, and that recognition creates boundaries that are firm yet compassionate. Change begins when you speak to yourself with love. The Buddha taught that right speech is one of the factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. We usually think of right speech as how we communicate with others, but the most important speech is the speech you direct toward yourself. Every thought is a vibration. Every internal statement is an energetic declaration. When you tell yourself you are not good enough, you are not simply having a thought. You are programming your nervous system. You are conditioning your consciousness. You are creating the lens through which you perceive reality, and that lens determines what you see and what remains invisible. Begin to notice the tone of your inner voice. Is it harsh? Is it dismissive? Is it constantly comparing you to others and finding you lacking? The Buddha called this the second arrow. The first arrow is the pain that life inevitably brings. The second arrow is the suffering we add through our resistance and judgment. You cannot always control the first arrow. Illness happens, loss happens, failure happens. But the second arrow, the voice that says you should not feel this way, that you are weak for struggling, that you are broken beyond repair, that arrow is optional. When you remove the second arrow through self-compassion, the first arrow loses much of its power. The pain is still there, but the suffering that comes from fighting the pain dissolves. Practice speaking to yourself as if you were speaking to someone you deeply respect and cherish. Before you go to sleep, place your hand on your heart and say, "Today I did my best with the awareness I had. I forgive myself for my mistakes. I honor myself for my efforts. I trust that I am growing even when I cannot see the progress." These simple practices rewire the pathways in your brain. They shift the energetic frequency you emit. And as that frequency shifts, the universe responds. Not because you have manipulated it, but because you have aligned with truth. You are no longer broadcasting unworthiness. You are broadcasting the recognition of your inherent value, and life meets you there. Peace is the most powerful frequency. Peace is not passive. This is a common misconception. People often equate peace with weakness or resignation. But true peace, the peace that arises from deep meditation and self-realization, is not the absence of strength. It is the presence of an inner stability that no external circumstance can shake. The Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree and remained unmoved, while all the forces of illusion tried to pull him from his seat. This is the image of peace as power, not fighting, not forcing, not proving, simply abiding in truth. When you stop fighting, rushing, or proving, your energy becomes magnetic. Think about the people in your life who embody true peace. They do not need to announce themselves. They do not need to dominate conversations or prove their worth, yet people are drawn to them. Why? Because peace is rare. Because in a world of chaos, stillness is a sanctuary. When you cultivate inner peace through meditation and mindfulness, you become that sanctuary. And sanctuaries attract those who are seeking refuge, meaning, and connection. This is not about becoming popular or collecting followers. This is about the natural magnetism that arises when you are no longer at war with yourself. Inner peace allows you to attract without striving. Striving comes from the belief that you must earn love, success, or happiness through relentless effort. But striving is exhausting. It is based on the false assumption that you are separate from what you seek. The Buddha taught the principle of dependent origination, the understanding that all phenomena arise through interconnection. You are not separate from the universe. You are an expression of it. When you realize this through direct experience in meditation, striving dissolves. Not because you become passive, but because you understand that you are already part of the whole. You do not need to fight for your place. You already have one. The frequency of peace penetrates everything it touches. A single peaceful person in a room can shift the entire atmosphere. This is not mysticism. This is physics. We are not solid, separate entities. We are patterns of energy in constant exchange with our environment. When your energy is peaceful, when your nervous system is regulated, when your mind is clear, you emit a frequency that affects everyone and everything around you. This is why the Buddha taught that the most powerful gift you can give the world is your own liberation. Not because liberation makes you superior, but because it makes you useful. A peaceful person does not add to the world's suffering. A peaceful person becomes a conduit through which healing can flow. Cultivate peace through daily practice. Sit in meditation even when your mind resists. Breathe deeply even when the day is chaotic. Return to presence even when the future whispers its fears. These practices are not spiritual luxuries. They are the foundation upon which a magnetic life is built. When peace becomes your home, when it is no longer something you visit occasionally but the ground from which you operate, everything changes. You no longer attract what you fear because fear no longer dominates your field. You attract what resonates with your true nature: goodness, opportunity, love, and abundance. Neediness is the enemy of receiving. When you believe you need something to be whole, you block it. This is the paradox at the heart of all manifestation teachings that are often misunderstood. Desire is natural. Preference is human. But neediness, the desperate clinging that says, "I cannot be okay unless I have this thing," creates a contraction in your energy field. That contraction is felt by the universe, and the universe, being a mirror, reflects that contraction back to you. You experience more lack, not because you desire something, but because you are identified with lack as your fundamental state. True receiving begins when you feel complete within yourself. The Buddha taught that craving is the root of suffering. But what is craving? It is not simply wanting. It is wanting from a place of emptiness, from the belief that you are incomplete and that external things can fill that hole. But no external thing can ever fill an internal void. You can accumulate wealth and still feel poor. You can be surrounded by people and still feel alone. You can achieve every goal and still feel like something is missing, because the something that is missing is not out there. It is the recognition of your own completeness right now, before anything changes. When you let go of desperation, you create space for blessings. Desperation is heavy, it clings, it suffocates. Imagine trying to hold water in a clenched fist. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips away. But when you relax your hand, when you cup it gently, the water rests in your palm. This is the energy of allowing versus grasping. The universe does not respond well to grasping because grasping is the energy of lack. But allowing, the gentle openness that says, I am already whole and I welcome what comes, creates a receptive field. And in that receptivity, blessings flow naturally. This does not mean you stop taking action or setting intentions. It means you act from sufficiency rather than insufficiency. You create goals not to escape your current reality, but as an expression of your creative potential. You pursue relationships not to fill a void, but to share your fullness with another. This shift in motivation changes everything. When you are no longer needy, people and opportunities are drawn to you in a completely different way. They are drawn to your light, not to your neediness. They are drawn to your peace, not to your desperation. And what arises from that place is sustainable, nourishing, and aligned with your highest good. Practice this. Sit quietly and feel into the sensation of wholeness. Not the idea of it, but the actual felt sense. Notice that in this moment, before you acquire anything else, your breath is moving, your heart is beating, awareness is present, life is happening through you. You are already a miracle. You are already complete. From this place of fullness, set your intentions. From this place of sufficiency, take your actions. And then release the outcome, knowing that whether you receive what you think you want or something even better, you will still be whole. Become what you want to receive. Your energy must match your desires. This is the law that governs all of creation. You cannot hold the frequency of victimhood and attract empowerment. You cannot vibrate fear and attract peace. You cannot be stingy and attract abundance. The universe does not make exceptions. It simply reflects back to you the quality of consciousness you are emanating. This is why affirmations alone rarely work. You can repeat, I am abundant 1,000 times, but if your nervous system is locked in scarcity, if your actions are driven by fear of lack, the universe will respond to what you are, not what you say. You attract not what you desire, but what you have already become. This is a profound teaching that is easy to misunderstand. It does not mean you must already have achieved your goal before you can attract it. It means you must embody the qualities and the energy that are aligned with that goal. If you desire a loving relationship, you must become loving, not just toward a future partner, but toward yourself, toward strangers, toward life itself. If you desire financial abundance, you must cultivate an abundant mindset, not through fantasy, but through generosity, gratitude, and wise stewardship of what you already have. If you want love, become love. The Buddha taught metta, loving kindness, as a practice and as a way of being. When you commit to living as an expression of love, when your thoughts, words, and actions are infused with kindness, you become a magnet for love. But this is not transactional. You are not being kind in order to get something in return. You are being kind because you have realized that love is your nature. And when you align with your nature, life flows. The right people appear, the right circumstances unfold, not because you manipulated them into existence, but because you removed the obstructions that were blocking the natural flow. This requires honesty. You must look at the parts of yourself that are not yet aligned with what you say you desire. If you desire peace, but your mind is constantly agitated, you must address that agitation through meditation and mindfulness. If you desire respect, but you do not respect yourself, you must begin the work of self-respect. The universe is not withholding anything from you. You are simply not yet vibrating at the frequency of what you seek. This is not judgment. This is physics. And the beautiful truth is that you can change your frequency. You can transform your consciousness. The Buddha proved this. Countless practitioners throughout history have proven this. And you can prove it too through consistent, dedicated practice. Let the old you die to become free. Past identities, wounds, and stories must be released. The person you were yesterday is not the person you are today. The person you will be tomorrow does not yet exist. All we ever have is this moment, this breath, this now. Yet we cling to outdated versions of ourselves as if they were written in stone. I am someone who struggles with money. I am someone who is bad at relationships. I am someone who always fails. These identities become prisons. They limit what you can see, what you can attempt, and what you can receive. The Buddha taught the principle of anatta, non-self, to liberate us from this trap. There is no fixed, permanent self. There is only the flow of consciousness, constantly changing, constantly creating itself anew. The self you built to survive cannot guide your spiritual awakening. Most of us constructed an identity in childhood based on survival needs. If you learned that being invisible kept you safe, you built an identity around invisibility. If you learned that being perfect earned love, you built an identity around perfectionism. These survival strategies were useful once, but they are not who you truly are. They are masks, defenses, coping mechanisms. And as you grow spiritually, as you begin to touch your Buddha nature through meditation and practice, these old identities must die. Not violently, but naturally, like a snake shedding its skin. Freedom is born through shedding, not adding. The spiritual path is often misunderstood as a path of accumulation. We think we need to become more spiritual, more enlightened, more evolved. But the Buddha taught the opposite. Enlightenment is not about adding anything to yourself. It is about removing the obscurations that prevent you from seeing what you already are. Every identity you release, every story you let go of, every wound you heal, reveals more of your true nature. And your true nature is luminous, spacious, and free. This process requires courage. It requires sitting with the discomfort of not knowing who you are when the old stories fall away. It requires trusting that something new will emerge, even when you cannot yet see what that something is. The Buddha called this the bardo, the in-between space. It is where transformation happens. Most people cannot tolerate the bardo. They rush to construct a new identity, to find a new story, to fill the emptiness with something familiar. But if you can sit in that emptiness, if you can breathe into the not knowing, you will discover that the emptiness is not empty at all. It is pregnant with potential. It is the fertile void from which all creation arises. Let the past version of yourself die with gratitude. Thank that version for doing its best to keep you safe. Honor the journey that brought you here. and then release it. You are not who you were. You are who you are becoming. And who you are becoming is determined not by the stories of the past, but by the quality of awareness you bring to this present moment. When you live this way, when you allow each moment to be a fresh birth, you become truly free. And in that freedom, the universe can meet you without the distortion of old patterns. You become available to receive blessings that were never possible within the prison of your former identity. True power is quiet confidence. Real strength does not announce itself. It does not need to. True power is not loud, aggressive, or dominating. It is the quiet confidence of someone who knows their own worth without needing to prove it to anyone. This is the power the Buddha embodied. He did not argue with those who doubted him. He did not force people to believe his teachings. He simply sat in his truth, and those who were ready to hear found him. This is the power that arises from self-love, not the false confidence that comes from external achievements or validation, but the unshakable inner knowing that you are enough exactly as you are. When you know your worth, you do not need external validation. This does not mean you do not appreciate recognition or enjoy praise. It means your sense of self is not dependent on these things. You can receive a compliment without clinging to it. You can face criticism without collapsing. You remain steady because your foundation is internal. The Buddha taught that attachment to praise and aversion to blame are both forms of suffering. When you are attached to praise, you become anxious about maintaining it. When you are averse to blame, you become defensive and reactive. But when you rest in the simple recognition of your Buddha nature, praise and blame become like weather. They arise and pass, but they do not define you. Silent confidence arises from inner alignment. Alignment means that your thoughts, words, and actions are coherent. You are not saying one thing and doing another. You are not pretending to be someone you are not. You are simply showing up as you are, without apology and without arrogance. This integrity creates a presence that people feel even if they cannot name it. You become trustworthy not because you try to be, but because you are aligned with truth. And trust is magnetic. Opportunities come to those who are trusted. Relationships deepen with those who are trusted. The universe itself seems to conspire in favor of those who are in alignment. This quiet confidence is not something you acquire overnight. It is cultivated through thousands of small moments where you choose self-respect over self-betrayal, where you choose to speak truthfully even when lying would be easier, where you choose to honor your boundaries even when people-pleasing would be more comfortable. Each time you make these choices, you strengthen the foundation of your inner power. You are no longer at the mercy of external opinions. You are no longer waiting for permission to be yourself. You are simply being, and that beingness is the most powerful thing you can offer the world. Love yourself like the universe does. You are already enough right now, not someday. This is perhaps the most important teaching in this entire exploration. Not when you achieve your goals, not when you fix your flaws, not when you finally become the person you think you should be. Right now, in this moment, with all your perceived imperfections and struggles, you are enough. This is not a motivational platitude. This is the direct teaching of the Buddha. He looked at sentient beings and saw their Buddha nature, their inherent completeness, even when they could not see it themselves. The work of spiritual practice is simply to remove the obscurations that prevent you from seeing what has always been true. Your Buddha nature does not need to be earned. It simply needs to be remembered. You were born with it. Every child knows their own value before the world teaches them to doubt it. Watch a baby. They do not question their worthiness. They do not apologize for their existence. They simply are, and in that pure being, they are perfect. Somewhere along the way, we forget this. We internalize messages from parents, teachers, society, that tell us we must become something other than what we are to be acceptable. And we spend the rest of our lives chasing an impossible standard, trying to earn what was never ours to earn in the first place. When you align with your true nature, the universe does not resist. It meets you. This is the great secret. The universe is not separate from you. You are not a small, isolated self trying to manipulate a vast, impersonal force. You are the universe expressing itself in this particular form. When you remember this, when you feel it in your bones through deep meditation and self-inquiry, everything changes. You stop fighting, you stop forcing, you stop trying to make yourself acceptable. You simply rest in the truth of what you are. And from that resting place, life unfolds with a grace and ease that the struggling mind could never achieve. The universe loves you the way a mother loves her child. Unconditionally, completely, without reservation. It does not love the version of you that finally gets it all together. It loves you now. It loves you in your confusion. It loves you in your pain. It loves you in your joy. It loves you because you are an expression of itself. When you can love yourself this way, when you can extend to yourself the same unconditional acceptance that the universe already holds for you, you become invincible. Not in the sense that nothing can harm you, but in the sense that nothing can diminish your essential worth. You are no longer dependent on circumstances to feel okay. You are okay, period. And from that unshakable okayness, you live a life of freedom, creativity, and genuine contribution. The sacred return home. Self-love is not selfishness, but spiritual remembrance. This distinction is crucial. Selfishness is the ego's demand that the world revolve around its needs and desires without regard for others. Self-love is the recognition that you are a sacred being worthy of care and compassion, and that you cannot genuinely care for others if you are depleted, resentful, and disconnected from your own heart. The Buddha taught the middle way, the path between self-indulgence and self-denial. Self-love is that middle way. It is neither narcissism nor martyrdom. It is the simple, profound act of treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer to anyone you cherish. When you truly love yourself, not just the parts that shine, but also the parts you have hidden and judged, the external world stops being a battlefield of proving and becomes a mirror of your inner sanctuary. The war ends not when you finally win, but when you finally lay down your weapons. You stop trying to prove your worth to the world because you have finally claimed it for yourself. You stop seeking validation because you have become your own source of approval. You stop chasing love because you have discovered that love is what you are. This transformation does not happen through willpower or positive thinking alone. It happens through practice. Through sitting in meditation day after day, watching the thoughts that attack you and choosing not to believe them. Through speaking gently to yourself when you fail, when you stumble, when you fall short of your own expectations. Through honoring your body, your emotions, your needs as worthy of attention and care. Through setting boundaries that protect your peace even when others are disappointed. Through choosing yourself again and again until choosing yourself becomes as natural as breathing. The Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree and touched the earth as his witness. He did not need anyone to validate his enlightenment. The earth itself recognized his truth. This is the image we must hold. You do not need the world's permission to love yourself. You do not need to wait until you are perfect. You do not need to earn it. You simply need to remember what has always been true. You are a precious expression of consciousness, worthy of love, worthy of peace, worthy of all the goodness the universe has to offer. And when you finally accept this, when you let this truth penetrate every cell of your being, everything you have been seeking begins to seek you. The chasing ends, the striving softens, and life, in all its mystery and grace, begins to show you what was always waiting on the other side of self-rejection. This is the path of Buddhist self-love, not a path of self-absorption, but a path of self-realization. Not a path of becoming someone else, but a path of uncovering who you have always been beneath the layers of conditioning and fear. Walk this path with patience. Walk it with compassion. Walk it knowing that every step toward loving yourself is a step toward loving all beings, because at the deepest level there is no separation. Your liberation is the world's liberation. Your peace is the world's peace. And your recognition of your own Buddha nature is the recognition of Buddha nature in all things. This is not the end of the path. This is the path itself, unfolding in every moment, inviting you home. May you discover the love that has been waiting for you within your own heart. May you recognize your inherent worth beyond all conditions. May you treat yourself with the tenderness you deserve. And may this remembrance transform not only your life, but the lives of all those you touch. The Buddha's teaching is clear. You are worthy. You are enough. You are loved. Not because of what you do or achieve, but because of what you are. Remember this, and watch as the universe mirrors that remembrance back to you in ways more beautiful than you could have imagined. If this teaching has touched something within you, take a moment to sit with it. Place your hand on your heart. Feel your own presence and silently offer yourself these words. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I know my true nature. May I love myself as the universe loves me. And if you found value in this exploration of Buddhist wisdom, I invite you to share it with someone who might need to hear these words. Subscribe to continue this journey of awakening together. Leave a comment, sharing your own experience with self-love and what you are discovering on your path. We walk this journey together, each of us remembering our own light so that we might shine more brightly for all beings. Until we meet again, may you rest in the peace of your true nature.